Howdy, Connection Group leaders. It's not Thursday anymore. It's technically Friday, but just barely. I am coming to you from Lake Lavon Camp. We just finished up our last night of youth camp. And I'm going to tell you, it's been a good week. It's been a really, really good week. We're anxious and excited to be home, but we've had a really, really good time. We had 77 students this year, and Lord did some good stuff. We've been studying truth, like the concept of truth, and helping students understand ultimately what Jesus says is truth, and therefore what Jesus says is what matters most. So excited to share more about that with you when we get home. I actually talked to the students about it. Several of you have got kids here, but anyway, it's been really, really good. I am excited, though, to talk about Galatians chapter 6 on Sunday. And guys, let me... even if you're not in the D6 study right now, which most of you are not this summer, and that's okay, would you as a Connection Group leader, would you still read the first 10 verses of chapter 6? And the reason why I say that very, very simply is because Galatians chapter 6 and these first 10 verses are the absolute heart of why we do Connection Groups. It's the whole point. Like if we didn't have Galatians chapter 6 and a few of the other one another passages, there would be no reason for us to have small groups of any kind. Like the Sunday morning worship gathering where we all just gather in one big room and listen to the pastor share a sermon. If we didn't have the one another passages like this one, it'd be a waste of our time, but we do. We're supposed to be caring for one another. And it's so good to be reminded of that and see it so clearly and really simply. This is a tangible thing. So again, if you're in D6 or not, spend a few minutes in that passage this weekend. If you want to do it with your class, certainly do that. But just you personally as a Connection Group leader, please understand this is the ministry. We're caring for one another. We're doing it with gentleness. Now, I want you to catch, because I think this is important. It says, someone is caught in sin. Notice that word "if" there. So one of the conversations I had with the students today is the fact that there are lots of incredible testimonies of people who were delivered from amazing sins, and we praise God for those, truly. I love being reminded of God's power and his ability to restore. But it's so good for us to be reminded as believers that we don't have to get caught in sin. Jesus has, in fact, set us free. He's given us each other and his Spirit to be able to avoid these incredible landmines the enemy throws our way. And so if someone is caught in sin, but we don't have to be caught in sin, but if someone is caught in sin, we restore them gently and with great humility. And the reason why that's so important, among other things, is the fact that if and when your day comes and you need to be restored, you want people to remember that you were gentle in that particular scenario. So really keep that in mind. Let your group know that. Sin is inevitable in the sense that we're all fallen, but when the really big explosions happen, if they happen, man, we're going to be gentle and gracious because Jesus is gentle and gracious with us. The portion where it talks about caring for your teachers, this is kind of the idea of taking care of your pastoral staff. Let me just say thank you. You do an amazing job of that. I'm one of many, and I'm so grateful for the way that we are loved at Lake Church, truly. Thank you for that. This past week was my 5th year anniversary at the church, and I thank God all the time, Beck and I both do, that we get to be your youth pastor, so thank you for that. Then finally, when it talks about in verse 10, be sure to do good for everyone, but especially for those who are of the faith. I think it's good to be reminded that we are not a closed-hold group. We do, in fact, go out and do ministry to our surrounding neighbors and certain of the nations, and we do that in a great way at Lake Church. But it is helpful to be reminded that our first and foremost role is to the family of God. You've heard me say this before, the church is not like a family, we are a family. None of you would hesitate to take care of your own personal bloodline first, and there's something very right about that. Remember that we are the family of God, and so our first objective is to care for one another. So that involves our time and our gifts and potentially our money and more. But it's worth it because we're each other's family. Guys, again, this is the heart of Connection Group ministry. So I hope you'll continue to embrace that and live it out with your group and encourage your group to do the same thing. I love you. Can't wait to see you when we get home. I'm going to go to bed now. See y'all later. Bye.